All right, guys, so coming back at you from the same channel that brought you 5 things I hate about my 2019 C7 Corvette ZR1. You guessed it, 5 things I love about this ZR1. So, just like I said in the 5 things I hate video, the 5 things I love about this car are things that, of course, I absolutely love, and they're part of the reason I bought the car. Narrowing it down to 5 things was difficult, but just like with the 5 things I hated video, I'm gonna keep it specific to the ZR1 Corvette, not just the C7 Corvette as a whole. So, number 1 is, of course, gonna be one that none of us can possibly forget about, and that is gonna be 755 horsepower, 715 torque. You can't beat that kind of stuff. And of course, it's got to be number 1 on the list because that is amazing for a production car with a warranty. 755 horsepower is amazingly crazy and fun. And I couldn't even consider making this list without mentioning that. Now, number 2 for the list is gonna be carbon fiber. Literally carbon fiber everywhere on this car. We got carbon fiber on the hood, carbon fiber on the splitter, carbon fiber on the side end caps, carbon fiber on the side skirts, carbon fiber on the side vents, carbon fiber on the roof, carbon fiber on the rear cooler vents, carbon fiber on the rear spoiler, and we can't forget about the carbon fiber on the interior. So check it out. Carbon fiber on the top of the steering wheel, carbon fiber on the bottom of the steering wheel, carbon fiber on the dashboard, and when I go to do it, there will be carbon fiber on the seats because these will be converted to competition seats very soon, so stay tuned for that. But as you can see, there's carbon fiber everywhere. That's at least one of the reasons that this car is elevated from your typical C7 Corvette to supercar status. The use of carbon fiber in this car is astounding, and of course you pay for it at the end, but at the same time, it's well worth it. Carbon fiber looks amazing on this car. Reason number 3 is gonna be the exhaust note. So as you guys know, the Corvette ZR1 has a slightly different exhaust setup than the Z06 does, so it actually sounds massively different and massively better. The best part about the exhaust is it is louder than the Z06, which is by itself fantastic. When you put it into stealth mode, it's actually quieter than the Z06 as well. It's absolutely mind-blowing how it is that they managed to make that happen, but it's just another reason why I love this car so much. It's very versatile because you can have that exhaust be as loud as you want or as quiet as you want, and that's fantastic in a car like this. Number 4 for this car is gonna be the big wing. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, wait a minute, Justin, you said you hated that on your 5 things you hate video. Well, it's a love-hate relationship because it is tough to get things into the actual trunk over this wing, but at the same time, look at this thing. I mean, it is literally a work of art. Being all carbon fiber, the way it's shaped, the way it looks on this car, it is absolutely menacing looking. The fact that it's functional, creating almost 1,000 pounds of downforce, is just icing on the cake as far as I'm concerned. That thing is absolutely beautiful. It's a piece of art. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I will gladly hate every second of my life loading things over top of it just so it's still on the back of my car at the end of the day because that is amazing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I don't mean to gush, but it's freaking awesome, guys. All right, so number 5, the 5th and final thing I love about this car, which, mind you, was not easy to come up with only 5 things because this thing is almost perfection. But number 5 is gonna be dual injection. So for those of you who don't know, the Corvette ZR1 actually had to go with dual injection because it was running out of fuel. After the 650 horsepower mark of the Z06, they realized they have to change something to get this engine more fuel so it can create more horsepower. Now, what they ended up doing was adding port injection on top of direct injection. Now, not to get too nerdy for you guys, but ultimately what it boils down to is direct injection can cause problems in time with carbon buildup inside your engine. Port injection, not so much, because the way the gas is injected into the engine goes in a different way that is actually able to clean parts of the engine. So basically it comes down to one thing. Direct injection can gum up your engine over time, but port injection will clean that gumming right out. So basically GM decided we needed more fuel in this engine. They gave us direct injection and port injection, which basically port injection cleans up what direct injection dirties up. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone. We get more horsepower and the engine cleans itself. So if you wanted to keep this car for a long period of time, that's not going to be an issue. Whereas if you wanted to keep a Z06 for a long period of time and you put a lot of miles on it, eventually you're going to have to take apart the engine and clean it because it's going to get gummed up. It's something that's been documented all over the place on the internet, but basically it's not the best setup for an engine going specifically direct injection, and a lot of engines out there have started doing direct and port injection for this reason. If I had to guess, GM did it specifically on this car just for the added horsepower and the fact that they needed more fuel, but like I said, it kills two birds with one stone and it will really make this car an even better collector. Now, I know some people out there aren't going to think this is a huge deal because you don't have to rip apart the entire engine to clean it. I'm probably making it sound worse than it is. To take apart the engine and do any kind of cleaning is definitely not something your average Joe can do. So having the ability to have this car basically clean up after itself is a great thing in my opinion. All right guys, so now the honorable mentions. These are not going to be ZR1 specific, but they could be something you could only find on a ZR1 because I have a billion things that I love about this car. But it's going to start with the black paint. It is definitely a love-hate relationship. I love it when it's clean. I hate it when it's dirty. But when it is clean, my God, there is not a nicer color out there. I'm sorry, I can't change my opinion on that. I really love red, and that's one of my favorite colors, but when black is clean and it is mirror-like, it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it is stunning. People stop all the time to look at this car, and I know by itself it is a nice car, but I get it all the time where people will stop, tell me how nice of a car it is, and then continue to tell me how much better it looks in black. Now, when I first bought it, I knew I liked black. I knew I also didn't like the maintenance of black, but the reaction I've gotten to this car from other Corvette and just car fanatics in general is amazing. The next honorable mention, of course, is just going to be that entire front bumper. The different bumper on this car from the Z06, a lot of people didn't like it at first, and I'll be honest with you, I was on that list. But after having this car for a little while, the more I see this front bumper, the more I can't even imagine this car being designed even a little bit differently. You can take one look at it and you know right away this thing's got some horsepower. I get told all the time that it looks like it's going 1,000 miles an hour whenever it's just sitting there parked. And it's because of this and that. Front bumper and that wing are what really sell the horsepower look of this car. And of course, I don't want to get too much into all this because we know, yeah, I know. I love the car, of course I do. I spent $140,000 on it, I better freaking like it, right? Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. So if you liked what you saw, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about the content that we've talked about here today, leave them in the comment section down below or send me an email, horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com, and we can talk about it. Like I said in my previous 5 things I hate video, these are just some of the things I like, and in that case, some of the things I hate. But ultimately, I bought the car, obviously. I do love it at the end of the day. I just want to try to share with you my ownership experience as best I can. And like I've said 100 times, nothing's perfect. So I wanted to make sure you guys are well aware of what I think is great and what I think is not so great about the car. But I have a ton of C7 and C8 Corvette content coming soon, so definitely subscribe. You're not going to want to miss it, trust me. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.